Guys, there is two different wars are getting connected. Ukraine versus Russia, the Islamic Republic versus United States, Israel, and allies. They were somewhat connected, but they're now getting a lot more connected, and they might become the same thing. They might merge completely with each other. We don't know. But I'll tell you, the war is getting, there are two wars, they're getting connected, right? I mean, they were already connected, but they're now merging, right? So we had the Islamic Republic versus United States, Israel, and allies. That's usually people see that as something separate from the war between Russia and Ukraine. We all know here, the people who have been following it, that they haven't been completely separate. Obviously, Ukraine is an enemy of the Islamic Republic, and the Islamic Republic is a proxy of Russia. So naturally, these wars are somewhat linked. Um, we all know that Ukraine has many, unfortunately, thousands of Ukrainians have been killed because of the Islamic Republic selling Shahed drones to Putin, and just by that, that means that the Islamic Republic has already been attacking Ukraine all this time. But now we finally have Ukraine. I mean, we had Ukraine responded before, but we had a more public, more transparent, more open, more significant attack by Ukraine on the Islamic Republic just happened. I'm going to mute hold this microphone. So I think most of you have already heard there was a deadly Ukrainian Caspian Sea strike on the regime in Iran and a vessel of the Islamic Republic in the Caspian Sea. We already talked about the fact that the Caspian Sea is used by Russia to send uh, drone uh, drone parts to the Islamic Republic. So now Ukraine got involved and it took out the vessel, which is a lot of people are going to see if the Islamic Republic is going to respond to this. So this was basically, we already talked about this. This was on July 25th, but now this is escalating because now the Islamic Republic is expected to respond, right? Um, One person died from in the ship on the Islamic Republic side. There was a severe damage on the ship. The foreign minister called Zelensky a freeloader, and he also vowed retaliation. Some people within the Islamic Republic are saying, some supporters of the Islamic Republic are saying that they shouldn't retaliate because this is a trap. And I think actually they're correct. Zelensky is very um, I think this is actually a genius plan. They are trying, both Ukraine and Israel are on the same side of this. I think, based on the reports, it suggests that Israel has something to do with this as well. And I think Ukraine wants in. And I think that people are seeing this as Israel bringing in Europe to the war against the Islamic Republic. And some people from the Islamic Republic side are saying, don't take the bait, but if they don't, it's going to look really bad because Zelensky did hit their ship. If they do respond, they are walking into an obvious trap. If they don't respond, it looks really bad. And honestly, then Zelensky could go come and hit ships, more ships, because like, oh, really? So I could do whatever I want, and you guys are not going to respond. Well, let me have at it then. So if they don't respond, eventually, if they get forced to respond later, it's going to look bad. Then why didn't you respond earlier, anyways? But if they do respond, they're going to get criticized to walking into an obvious trap. So honestly, this is like genius in my opinion. That Zelensky and Israel are doing this, and basically this is going to. If this escalates, it will mean that Europe is going to, at some point, get more serious against the Islamic Republic. Um, we had the speaker of the foreign ministry of the Islamic Republic came out and said a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo against the Ukrainian as well, saying like, I don't know, calling them anarchists, calling them, saying that they're taking advantage of the situation, not taking, fixing their own country. I saw some regime supporters on Telegram and other places were suggesting that, as a way to cope, if they don't respond to Ukraine, is saying, well, there's nothing for us to respond because Putin has destroyed everything you have anyways. So it seems like the coping was happening even before They're like, there's nothing to hit. Like, this is a trap. There's nothing to hit. Everything they have has been destroyed by Russia. So why walk into this trap? Um, One thing that is interesting is that um, Israel and Ukraine have had some difficulties working, being on the same side of things, even though naturally it seems like they should be. They share the same enemies, they share the same values, they want the same things. Um, they're defending against the same types of threats. But one thing that has been an obstacle in both of them being uh, on the same side completely is the Russian influence in Israel. um I don't know if how accurate this is, but that has caused like has some issues, just a little bit, not 100%. But hopefully this is the beginning of Israel and Ukraine working a lot closer with each other, because there's a lot of gain there. In my opinion, I think that would be fantastic. And this again is moving us closer to this becoming a, you know, wider war. As Amujef usually says that we're moving into World War III. Then another, so this is, but I usually like to say Cold War II, but again, I'm not going to get into that discussion. But again, this supports the idea that we are moving towards this becoming more global, whether whatever you want to call it, World War III or Cold War II. Both of those suggest a global battle rather than a regional one, which I think Amujef agrees with that on that part, right? So with that being said, I'm going to talk less because I think you guys are waiting to see what Amujef has to say on this. Who's mudding, by the way? Is anybody mudding? We have no mods here today. Okay, I'll mod myself. Okay, Amujef, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you hit on some very key points. Now you're seeing covert, or let's say mixed collusion and or collaboration amongst the members of the autocratic bloc becoming more overt, right? As we get closer and closer to like the escalatory war kickoff. I mean, it's yeah. I mean, Ukraine has been assisting, for instance, the covert part when you had the mullah regime before operate, like Midnight Hammer and the rest, they were sending shaheds to Russia. And so you had Ukrainian special forces working with Israeli intelligence, and they blew up a particular factory inside Iran that produced shaheds. There's a reason they did that, right? You're now seeing that over because things are moving into high gear and everybody knows where everybody's at and where things are shaking out. It's not going to be Cold War 2.0, buddy. It's not like I don't wish you were right. The simple fact is that we're in the opening stages. I can say with a very high degree of human certainty, I possess as the highest degree of probability we're in the opening stages of a high intensity world war. Everybody kind of sees that, and everybody needs to find out which side they're going to sit on because there is no sitting out. Well, I choose not to engage in the war. Great. Doesn't mean the war won't choose to engage with you. Ask any number of the civilians that were murdered by the mullah regime when those fuckers just fired missiles and drones everywhere, even against countries that weren't involved. So yeah, I mean, I'm very happy. A lot of us were pushing for, more. You've heard me say it on the show. I think, oh, look at me saying like, yeah, there's a reason I said that. Ukrainians are very much your natural ally. They understand, like in many ways, like their experience rhymes with tragically with the misery that Iranian civilians and people have had and stuff. Actually, one of the best things that could be done, the other things that were done, two things. One, recognizing His Highness Prince Reza Pahlavi, that's as the head of the official government in exile, is gaining traction. And I only got half the point I could post on you and Monkey Show because I wasn't like, oh, look at me. I'm saying the reason that's important is that streamlines a lot of legal gateways. It opens up a lot of them so that now you can start providing lethal track two material support to Iranian resistance. It doesn't open them all. It definitely opens up a lot where it makes it very easy to do that. And that's a really good thing. Right now, those that are members of in keeping with the increasing overlap, no. Actually, I should probably have Dan say hi to you. Um, One of the things that members of the anti-mullah diaspora can do right now that will bring pain to the mullah regime and remnants and their proxies would be to work with Ukraine's diaspora and increasing the throughput of their FP1 and FP3 long range attritional munitions, because not only would it be used to strike things in, say, Russia, also used to strike things inside, like mullah elements inside Iran. Did you see the thing that was said between, what was, I think it might have been the Israeli ambassador and His Highness? That was cool. It gave him two things, like two menorahs to hang on the door of a Israeli embassy in liberated Tehran, and the Lion and Sun embassy inside Israel. I thought that was really cool. I'm very happy that everybody's starting to, everybody's kind of realizing and aligning themselves behaviorally with the fact that you're going to have to pick one of two sides. You know where I'm at, man. Javi Shaw.
Javid Shah. That was beautiful. Thank you. And then we got Raham. Is it Raham or Raham? Raham, I think, yes.
The Farsi pronunciation is Raham, but it's been pronounced multiple different ways. It's Raham. And like Raham is the more popular one. This is Raham.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
Oh,
wasn't a more global or semi-global conflict kind of the Islamic regime's goal this whole time? Like they kept hitting all these neighbors, and when they've kind of secretly been hoping for something like this to happen, to one, take the attention away from them a little bit, and two, get Russia and China somewhat more involved, because now there's some more legitimacy for them to enter the fight. And if yes, then wouldn't that benefit their position? I haven't thought about how this would hurt or help them if there are more countries, aka World War III-ish type of thing happening. But I'd love to hear you guys' perspective on it, because it seemed like they were trying to get more players involved and not just have it be quick and dirty and be done with. That's all.
well, they were trying to get more players on their side involved, not players against them involved, right? So the Arab countries that they were hitting was because they were hoping to use this to put pressure on United States, especially, uh, you know, because they're a big source of global energy, right? And they also have a lot of influence in Washington D.C. But yeah, they would love it if Russia and China could come and help them out. But it would be nicer if they came instead of Ukraine basically beating them up and then Russia coming in. You know what I mean? Like that, the order. So here's the thing: Russia. Okay, I think I have to word this in a way that doesn't make Amujef turn on his camera and shake his head. How do I word this before? Okay. Russia uses the Islamic Republic as a tool against the United States to keep them busy, to cost them a lot of money and resources, but it doesn't consider itself an ally of the Islamic Republic. Islamic Republic is a proxy, right? So it will only support the Islamic Republic to the point where it thinks that it doesn't cost it too much, especially given that Russia is not doing very good these days, right? So it can't afford to defend the Islamic Republic. It's not worth it. Islamic Republic is not worth it, right? The Islamic Republic, even before all of, even before Ukraine was uh, delivering such a devastating blow to the Russian economy and Putin's military machine. Even before that, I don't think Putin would be interested in going out head to head against the United States for the sake of the Islamic Republic, right? They wouldn't be interested in that. they would be interested in supporting the Islamic Republic for it to be, a thorn on their side, but they're not going to go to war for Islamic Republic, right? But Ukraine is willing to go to war against the Islamic Republic, but they're not willing to, and Russia is not willing to go to war for the Islamic Republic. Does that make sense? What I'm saying here?
Yeah, yeah. I didn't mean that they would directly come like send soldiers and stuff, but I mean we know behind the scenes Russia and mainly I guess China is the bigger player now because Russia's been getting decimated by Ukraine. Wouldn't they be able to provide a lot more support, somewhat justifiably, if there's a more of a global conflict? Whereas now it's like, well, like just stay out of it, and because it's not you're not involved in it. But then if more countries are involved, especially Ukraine, then Russia is going to get involved, and China has to eventually pick a side, and they're probably not going to pick the U.S.'s side, and there's a good chance that they get involved with Vietnam, sorry, not Vietnam, Taiwan, and they basically like ramp up their support for the Islamic regime, who is going to be the leader in the fight. That's kind of more what I was talking about. But I understand what you're saying completely.
China is going to continue supporting the Islamic Republic, um, and doesn't feel like it needs justification. Justification assume like would needing justification suggests that if that China is going to come and announce that we're going to support the Islamic Republic in a war against the United States, right? China would be terrified to do that. Like it's not in a position, it's too weak to be able to do that, right? So they don't like they are going to continue supporting the Islamic Republic, and they don't feel like they need justification for that. And publicly, they're going to only um, they're going to support them in the sense that, oh, this is a sovereign nation with the right to independence and self-governance, and US is is being bad and they should stop, right? That's publicly, that's as far as they go. Publicly, they're not going to come and um announce that they're militarily supporting the Islamic Republic in a war against the United States. They're going to continue supporting militarily the Islamic Republic against the United States, but they're not going to make it official. So saying this will justify them, um, kind of suggests that at some point they might actually want to be open about it. Like they would have enough reason. The issue is not the justification. The issue is power, right? So China, if they had the power to confront the United States in such a war, they wouldn't be looking for the justification. And if they have the justification doesn't provide the power. So they're not interested in making it official. They only make it official that yes, this is like a nation, and they're going to talk about international law and all that nonsense. And we're like, oh, United States is being bad. They're violating another country's independence and stuff like that. That's officially that's as far as they will go. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. So if I was to ask you just yes or no, one way or another, does a global war hurt or help the Islamic regime? What would you say?
I think it hurts the Islamic regime because they don't have many friends, and the people and the countries who think that like the Islamic Republic thinks are their friends, are not willing to commit to defending them, um, as much as their enemies are willing to confront the Islamic Republic. Does that you do understand? So if you think about like
Mhm.
who are the Islamic Republic's enemies here, right? Israel, Ukraine, United States. They're not going to be shy about it. They're going to go all out if they have to, right? And even the other ones who are shy about it, like let's say for example European NATO countries, right? Um, if they get dragged into it, they're not going to basically uh, the other in or they're out, right? It's only like Russia and China who like secretly are going to send like, and well, it's not that secret, like drones and man pads and missile fuel, but they also don't want they're weak enough not to want to be jump right into it 100%, right? They can't, right? They can't even, like China can't even handle Taiwan. Russia can't even handle Ukraine. They want to go into this other war. It's pathetic. They like they know they can't. Um, so if it becomes more global, I think the enemies of the Islamic Republic are going to get more serious about it than the so-called friends of the Islamic Republic. The Islamic Republic is very isolated, right? I mean, other than China and Russia, who does it even have, right? Like Pakistan has a defense pact with Saudi Arabia. Qatar and Oman have been bombed by the Islamic Republic. Like there is not a single neighbor that it has that it could be called as an ally. Like that, like does Islamic, like even in its own neighborhood, does it is name me one country in the Middle East and North Africa that the Islamic Republic could say this is our ally? Just one country. Is it? Can you think of any of them?
No, I mean, I think I guess on surface, like it would be Turkey would be the closest, but they're in NATO, so there's no way they're going to come out against them. I mean, like
Or
policy wise, they're kind of they're in tune with the Islamic regime, but they're not. Yeah, no, they're not. That's what I'm saying. Like ideologically, they're kind of
their
with them, are
enemies.
they not? Am I getting that?
Erdogan and Islamic Republic are enemies. So
Oh, I thought they were. Okay, yeah, no, there are none. No, you're right. I guess the only thing is just those two players, and then the talk of possible nuclear weapons comes into play, which is frightening. But
right, this is why I don't see how this could become, like if this becomes global, it becomes worse for the Islamic Republic to the point that it would end them. I mean, I don't even know if it would get to that point, but yeah, like maybe it wouldn't even get a chance. But we'll see. It depends what the United States does. If the United States doesn't go all out and try to, finish the job in a massive escalation against the Islamic Republic, which I hope that's what they're planning right now, then this could take a couple of years. It could even take more than a couple of years. So if the plan is just go in, take out layer 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 of the regime, destroy whatever you can of the Islamic Republic, start working with the Iranian people, arm them, recognize Prince Reza Pahlavi's leadership, and coordinate the arming of the Iranian people with him and his team. If they're going to do that, then this could be done a lot faster. But if they're planning on just taking over some islands, um, and just holding on to some islands and some southern parts of the Iran, just to liberate the Strait of Hormuz, and with the uranium, just do some special ops trying to go get the uranium out. If that's the plan, and there's no serious regime change plan in their in mind, then the regime will still fall, but it could take a lot longer. It could take a lot longer. Hopefully, they're going with the first version of this plan, like basically the same suggestion that Monkey and Amujef are making. If that's the plan, this could be done and over with really fast. Okay, so Danny is here. Danny, we had no mods. Can you mod? It was so difficult.
Yes, but I just got here. I don't have any sort of list.
Okay. I will give you a list. And right now we have Jose and Amujef for twos, and then I'll give you the list of ones. Okay. Okay.
Okay,
So
then I will call
oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Jose.
Okay. I just want to get real here. There's only one military force that is capable of a land invasion of Iran. And I don't think they'll do a damn thing because they have to look at Armenia and above them toward the Soviet Union, the old Soviet Union, Russia, and that's Turkey. So he's not going to do any shit at all. The Afghanistanis, that's a joke, you know. The Pakistanis, they're more worried about the Indians and the Afghanistanis than that. Any of the Gulf nations, nothing. Their royal highnesses are not about to sacrifice their family members in a land invasion. They'd rather have somebody else do it, and they'll pay for those someone else's to do it. So it is left only to the Jeff's idea, and I saw Jeff. I finally saw the full video that you and Monkey did. Great job, loved it. Okay, And a hell of a lot better explained than we've had it here. Guys could go watch it if you can. But you got to understand the politics of the region. I barely understand the politics of the region, but I know this. I see hunger in Turkey. I don't see the hunger for Iran. I see hunger to stay alive. Okay. And in that world with the Muslim Brotherhood, which Turkey is a part of, they have to pick and choose their fights. You know, right now, the United States have nuclear missiles stationed in Turkey. That is a threat to the Soviet Union or the Russians, not to anybody else. Maybe at one point it was to Iran, but I seriously doubt it. But now, if the United States does what they did to the other European countries by taking nuke weapons out of Turkey, Turkey becomes an absolute target for almost everyone in that region if they want to go after Turkey. And I'm sorry, but God, Istanbul, former Constantinople, is still a major target of lust for every single ruler in that area, because that was the last bastion of the old Roman Empire. People call it Byzantium. I still see it as Rome. They were part of Rome. Yeah, they got a way too Middle Eastified, but they still have a lot of Rome in them. Okay. And Rome has always been something that people in the entire region, the entire European part of Asia that Russia comes from, originated from Middle East and Africa, has put a target on. Second target is Byzantium or Istanbul now. Okay. So a lot of little things need to be thought about when you're talking about how history weaves into things. So I just want everybody to keep attention that I think Jeff is right. We're headed for a third world war. I don't think it's going to last very long, honestly, because I don't know if Putin's going to last in Russia to the end of this year. There are signs that there are people with serious clout that are turning sour on him. He's had to get more and more defensive. He's had to hire more help for bodyguards. And we'll just see, how long he lasts. There's a possibility he'll fall before the Iranian regime falls. Okay. China. If you guys would see what's happening in China, they had a double earthquake, smaller than the Venezuelan one, but they've also had those earthquakes trigger the loss of a multiple dams that have flooded towns. Death toll is still unknown because they don't talk about death tolls. To them, whatever. But it is a matter of something to worry about. They have a small revolution going on with the business owners because of a new tax that the business owners find out when the tax agents are going to come, so they close down their business so they can't be taxed for faulty equipment, violations of health codes and things like that there, and be basically extorted by the government that is shutting down mom and pop stores all over China. And they're being tipped off by somebody in the government. So there'll be somebody else falling in the government shortly. Okay. Or someone else who's going to take the fall for it. They have a lot more problems than people understand. I'm about done, Danny. Okay. There's a lot more things going on out there than just what's happening in the Middle East that are contributing to what we think we see. And this is just a general warning. Pay attention. There's more out there going on that's going to affect this than you people think. I'm done, Danny.
All right, thank you, Jose.
Thank you, Danny. We appreciate you, Danny. I know this is like hard to do. Love you. Yeah.
I know you appreciate me everything. Okay, Siddhartha, go ahead.
Ask about the Islamic Republic's perspective on alliances. So given that it's a constitutionally theocratic state, And as you've told us before, Armin, the head of state is a boy who hasn't been seen since the 9th century. Like what does it mean? So this is one sort of view of this is one perspective I have on the IR, but the other is that you said like it's you can think of the Islamic Republic as a sort of Palestinian takeover of Iran. So so like from that perspective, like what is considered an ally internally? What is the internal perspective on ally? Like would Assad be considered an ally? Would Hamas be considered an ally? I think because I think from a theological perspective, these people are problematic, right? So like the Muslim Brotherhood and the Alawites and even the Houthi would be sort of problematic from a theological perspective. And so it does seem to me like that they're, at least on the surface, their theological commitments are in tension with even their ability to have a regional network of alliances, let alone the Chinese and the Russians.
Yep. Thank you. Let's now go to Jeffrey.
Yeah, I was just going to say, recognizing His Highness Prince Reza Pahlavi again is crucial towards allowing track 2 material support, lethal track 2 material support, to assist Iranian resistance, right? Particularly those from, say, the more mass producible and attritionable alternative long-range strike munitions from Ukraine as a operational insurance policy. You're not wrong, Armin, when you tell those in your Persian channel that the sacrifices borne by those kids in January brought a lot of goodwill around the world. It showed in no uncertain detail. There is no connection between the mullah regime that illegally occupies Iran and Iranian people. That's the whole point of this conflict. It is the final battle, not just for Iran, for the world. You'll find out where people have to pick where they sit.
My name is Armin Navabi. I'm an Iranian political analyst with decades of experience fighting the Islamic regime inside and outside of Iran. Make sure you follow me for more, and also make sure you join our discussion group. I'm there almost every single day. Come talk to me there and the rest of the people there in our group calls. It's a great place to meet and talk to people who like talking about politics. The link is in the description and or in the bio. You could also get there by scanning the QR code on the screen. See you there.